Next up, we have a very interesting conversation with Wendy Leong from Strategic Solutions who's heading Strategic Solutions at Infinity Solutions. She's going to be talking to us about positive influence. I'm sure we could all use a lot of that. Wendy is passionate about helping people harness their potential, and she's going to share what positive influence means. Wendy, I'd like to welcome you to the stage. Thank you.
Thank you. Yep. Okay. Thank you, everyone, and good morning. Thank you for the introduction. Yes, with an intro like that, it puts a lot of pressure on me. First thing Friday morning, already pressured. But nevertheless, I am absolutely thrilled to be with all of you here this morning, especially for those dialing in online. It's great to see you too. And also thank you to Shilit's Tech and Isaka for inviting me to speak on the topic of influence. Now, this is a very fascinating topic for me, and one that I'm sure all of us will agree is extremely relevant. Why? Because influence is not just a work skill, it's also a critical life skill. So it's not very surprising that this topic is one of our most popular ones at Influence Solutions. So we are an L&D company. So we hold like a keynote or a workshop on influence almost twice a week, whether in Singapore or in other countries. And because influence is such a vast topic, and I just have 20 minutes with all of you, so I wanted to focus on three critical things. And the beauty of it is, whichever of these things resonate with you, find the simplest action and start using it. You can find that it may be a game changer in the way you think, you influence, and you lead. And I'm going to be bringing these 3 points or 3 things to life by sharing a couple of stories. So, are you all ready this Friday morning? Whoa, love it. Okay, so the first one, let me share with you a story about this guy that I was coaching, this gentleman that I was coaching. So, he was a director in a manufacturing company. Oh, should I hit the slides? Yes, yeah. And this was our first coaching session together. Now, whenever I meet somebody for the first time in a coaching session or an engagement, I like to find out a little bit more about them. Because in order for me to coach Jack the professional, I need to know Jack the person, right? So I said, can you tell me a little bit about yourself? And so he shared about his life, his work, his passions, his family. But as he was talking, I noticed something. He kept using the word but. So much so that after a while in my head, I start counting the number of buts. And so I thought, how can I make him become aware of this and the impact it was having on his life? And so I said, hey, would you like to try something interesting? Now, earlier he had shared that he had a young son in primary school, so maybe about 8 to 9 years old. And I said, the next time when we meet, can you tell me what is your son's favorite word? And then he said, why? But you know, right, adults love to play games. So, intrigued, he agreed. Now, the next couple of weeks, when he walked in, he said, that rascal son of mine, he keeps using the word but. And then I said, I wonder where he gets it from. And he got it. This guy was sharp, he was smart, he got it. And it was probably also the first time that he realized the impact of his words on the people around him, including his son. Okay, and so that's the first thing that I wanted to leave you with. And that is to be, okay, let me just see if I can, yes, thank you. Do you want to just click it for me? Okay, and that's the first thing I want to leave you with, and that is be aware of your conversations with yourselves and with others, because we can change the way we influence just by changing that conversations in our head. You know that saying, right, by Lao Tzu? Watch your thoughts, they become your words. Watch your words, they become your action. Watch your action, they become your habits. Watch your habits, they become your character. And watch your character, they become your destiny. Yeah, okay, so I can end my talk here now. But yes, so just watch your thoughts and your words. Okay, so that's the first thing I wanted to leave you with. Now, moving on to my second story. Now, this one was a workshop, a women's leadership program that we were running for International Bank. And the aim of this program was because the bank wanted to increase the number of women in their senior leadership team. So they had 25, women that were handpicked high potentials. So I remember at the start of the workshop, we asked the women to do an activity. And so we broke them up into small groups and we said, okay, draw your ideal CEO. Now, 10 minutes later, we had two fascinating realizations as they stuck their flip charts on the wall. The first was that bankers can draw other things apart from their high salaries. And second, the most amazing realization was that the CEO that all of them drew was of a man. And so I asked the women, I said, can you tell me why did you feel the compulsion to draw a man as a CEO? And there was silence in the room. And so I shared with them that, unless you believe in yourself, unless you can see it right here in your minds, it's unlikely that you will become the CEO. Because if you cannot even see it in your head. And so that's the second thing I wanted to leave you with. And that is to visualize your desired reality. Learn to visualize it, because everything in the world is created twice. First in the mind and then in reality. Now, maybe by now you're a bit tired of my stories. So let's do something a little bit fun. Let's get the energy going this morning. So I'm going to give each of you a task. Okay? So you can click, yes. Just the task, yeah. Okay, so here's what I need you all to do. I'm going to be flashing the task on the screen, and you have 60 seconds to share the solution with the person next to you. Now, this can be the person on your left or on your right, whomever you like better. Okay? All right, and the 60-second timer will be right on the screen. So, are we all clear what we need to do? Okay? Recap. Task flash on the screen, turn to your partner and share the solution in 1 minute or 60 seconds. If you're ready, here's the task. Generate $1 million in 24 hours without stealing, borrowing, or dipping into your savings, and share it with the person next to you in 1 minute. For those of you who are online, you can either drag someone and share it with them, or think about the solution in your head. We'll give you 1 minute, and it starts now. Okay, all right. 1 minute is up. I see some photo taking over there. Okay. Anybody has any solution to share? Yes, what was it? Sure? Did you have a solution? Did you have?
I'll have 1 billion followers.
You have 1 billion followers. Okay.
1 million, and then I will sell them a chocolate for $1 each.
Ah, I see. Okay. Interesting.
But it doesn't need my savings to buy a chocolate.
Yeah, so
Cost and then sell it.
good try, good effort. Okay, now why do you think we got you to do this activity? Sorry? Oh, to know the person next to you. Yes, very nice. Anybody has any other? to get the conversations going. Wow, very nice. Okay, well, you're all right. But the main reason why we got you to run this activity was because we wanted you to start becoming aware of your thinking. Now, it's very, very interesting, yeah? Now, what happens is when we place a seemingly impossible task in front of a person, it triggers two thoughts. The first one is, let me click. The first one is, click, can I do it? And the second question is, how can I do it? Now, there is actually also a third question. Why should I do it? It's not there, but I'm going to assume that nobody thought of that, and so we will ignore it for now. But let me focus on the two questions. Can I do it? And how can I do it? They sound quite similar, right? But what's the difference? Let's take a closer look at it. Now, can I do it is an inward-looking question that questions your capability. Now, in fact, it questions the perception of your capability because we never truly know how much we're capable of until we're pushed to the edge, right? Until we're pushed to our limit. Now, how can I do it is a forward-looking question because it assumes that the task can already be done. It assumes that we have the capability to do it. And the only question is, how? Now, how many of you here have children below the age of 7? Raise your hands. Yeah, okay. Okay, that's interesting. But you know, the funny thing is, children, right, below the age of 7, when you give them anything, you throw them a task, a challenge, right, they tend to ask the question, how can I do it? Because it's before their critical analysis is fully developed. Usually our executive functioning, the critical analysis fully develops at age 25 only. So kids at that age, right? How can I do it? But somehow along the way, as we become adults, we start to second guess ourselves. And without realizing it, more often than not, we start asking the, can I do it question. Now, which of these two questions are better? I'm going to leave it up to you to decide. But my suggestion is when you encounter something new, something scary, and something difficult, try using the how can I do it question. You may find yourself becoming a little bit more inspired and motivated to act, more creative and more solutions focused. And so that's the third thing I wanted to leave you with. Now, to kind of bring the 3 points together, I thought I'd share with you a personal story of mine. So this was in 2013, and I was in an amazing job. I was based in Singapore. It was an amazing job. I had great bosses. I had fantastic team members, and I was doing work that was very meaningful and purposeful. I felt like I was really making a positive impact. Then, my then husband got promoted, and we had to relocate to Dubai. So I asked my boss and my HR manager, like, hey, is there a role in Dubai? And they said, no, there isn't. So in my head, I had 2 options. One is I leave my job and go to Dubai. The second option was I keep my job and then I leave my husband in Dubai. So I remember I was feeling a little bit troubled, like, it's just that heavy feeling. And so I shared it with him. And then he said, but what's your desired outcome? And so I said, well, for me, the best is if I can go to Dubai with you and then still keep my job. And then he said, then why don't you ask for that? And then I said, but I've already asked them if there's a role in Dubai. They already said no. I don't want to come across as very aggressive and very pushy. And then he looked at me, he shrugged, and then he said, well, you won't know till you ask. So I mulled over it that night. And the next morning, I decided that, you know what? what's the worst that can happen, right? I either lose the job, which I'm already prepared to, or I lose the husband. But I didn't tell him that, of course. So the next morning, I went up to my boss and I said, is there a way for me to keep my current role but shuttle between Singapore and Dubai? Now, I then held my breath and then I waited. My boss, when he heard me, he looked a little bit surprised. I saw the eye like. Then he hesitated for a bit, and to my amazement, he said, you know, Wendy, it's not been done before, but I think we can make it work. I'm going to talk to HR. We'll just see if we need to iron out any of these like HR policy taxation things, and then we will try and make it work. And that's how I got my desired outcome. All because of that conversation with my husband at that point in time. He made me visualize my desired reality. I changed the story in my head. Instead of asking, can I make this role possible for me, my desired outcome? Instead, it turned to, how can I make what I want happen? But the most important thing that I learned from this episode was to not be afraid to ask for what you want, because you can be surprised at the results that you get. So ladies, I want to share with you today that all of you here have what it takes. All of you here have influence. You just need to learn how to use it and use it wisely. With that, thank you very much and enjoy the rest of your day, conference, and weekend. Thank you.